of the Federal Capital Territory, now in politics. There are two Iyons here, but this is the one from the Senate. Uche Ekunife, former member of the House.
Is a man you elect as president, you can go about your business and know that your nation is in good hands. We have done this before. We did not care, or we bought lies. This is the real thing. If you want to, it is left for us as elders and leaders of this country to decide once more whether we want somebody who can lead us truly or just anybody. And this is not about money. Peter Obi is not a poor man by any standard. 25 years ago, this is a man that ran a business that Lloyd's Bank offered him more than £2 million in overdraft. 25 years ago. How many of those who are competing today can we trace their history back to 25 years and put them on the same pedestal? How many of those who are contesting today, I'm not disparaging anybody, but if we are actually looking for the best of the best amongst us, this is the man that we should take. His name is Peter Obi. Thank you.
Thank you. God bless you.
Daughter of Kwame, who is unknown to you, and Simon Arabo is former House of Representative member from this, and a couple of other business people, KZ Banco. But let me respectfully stop there. Let me start by thanking you, very distinguished senators, for your time this evening. I'm sincerely grateful. I don't take this for granted, that you find time to make yourself available and answer for this invitation. I'm sincerely grateful. Knowing how busy you are and everything, I'm not going to take a lot of your time. I'm sure whatever I'm going to say here, you've heard from different other aspirants. And we've often heard from those who are making comments about our history and our country and everything. But all of us know today that our country is passing through a very difficult phase. This used to be a great country. Today, our country is classified among the failing countries of the world. We are now among 10 of the failing countries of the world. We're now classified as one of the most terrorized countries in the world. In fact, we're number 3 or number 4 after Afghanistan, Yemen, and the way it's going, we might soon overtake them. We are the world capital of poverty. Even before the COVID, Nigeria, a country of 200 million, had more people living in poverty than the 2 biggest countries of the world combined, China and India. That is about 2.8 billion. For 200 million, we have more people living in poverty than 2 of them combined before COVID. So you can imagine what it is after COVID. We have one of the highest unemployment rates in the world today. At 33%, which is the unemployment. By the time you combine the underemployment, we're about 55. And worse still, we have about 60% of these are the young ones who are the greatest assets of production and in their productive age. doing nothing. Out of school children, you're the highest in the world. Over 15 million. Forget about what anybody is telling you. Infant mortality today, we've just overtaken India, which they thought will overtake them in 5 years, and we've just overtaken them. In a stress level, we are now 148 over 152. Nigerians are stressed. Competitiveness, we're going down. Of course, you've seen perception, corruption, misunderstandings, we're going down. You can go on, the list is endless. The hunger list now, we're number 98 out of 105. Nigerians have been classified as a country now where people spend over 100% of their wage, salary on feeding. It's like, you can't, and it's getting worse. And anybody who thinks it's going to get better, forget it. This is cumulative effect of leadership failure over the years. Because we're choosing not to do the right thing. And people will tell you, when I was talking about somebody who is granting loan and everything. There's nothing wrong with loan. Nothing, absolutely nothing. I'm a businessman. I'm a trader. That is my background. You live with loan. Loan is what has made nations, every nation in the world is owing. Even Norway, that have the highest sovereign wealth fund of 1.4 trillion, is owing over 50% of their GDP in debt. So there's nothing wrong with loan. It's what you throw the loan at, what you use the loan, that makes all the difference. And I'll show you countries that have borrowed. But we have a crisis that because we're throwing away the money we're borrowing, it's not getting to a stage where we can't even service the loan. You approve it, you know the budget and everything. Last year alone in 2021, in the first 5 months of last year, as a nation we earned 1.1 trillion 847 billion naira. We used 1 trillion 802 to service debts, remaining 45 billion for a nation of 200 million people. It's a crisis. You approved last year budget of 13 trillion. And we are supposed to borrow 4 trillion. In the end, we borrowed about 6.7. In the end. This year, you approved a budget of 17 trillion, which the government said they are going to generate a revenue of over 10 trillion. From where? So you're going to borrow another thing. In a short while, we will not be using 98% of our revenue to service debt. We will need to borrow, which is what we're doing now, to service debt. And you're not generating revenue. And you often hear government people say, we don't have a borrowing problem. We have a revenue problem. You can't generate revenue when your people are poor. You're not going to tax poor people who are in the village doing nothing. Revenue is the function of productivity. The country is not productive. So you can't generate money. For me, my appeal is that 2023 is not about making the next person president or anything. It is about all of us fighting for our future. You're on top of the ladder. If this country collapses today, it will affect you more than it will affect those who will think that are below us. And it's collapsing. None of you can live here and go anywhere and be street sweepers. You can't. So we need to defend it. We need to do it. It happened to other nations. Other nations have removed their country from consumption to production. It's happened everywhere. Pulling people out of poverty has happened everywhere. I've been to at least over 30 countries that have pulled their people out of poverty. I just came back from Morocco. And I told Okube an interesting news this evening. I said, let me tell you, here, people spend dollar. But I went to Morocco. I came back on Friday. I bought BTA. They put it in my card. And I got to Morocco and said, I want $1 cash for it. They said, no, you use our currency. I was just telling him, no other country does that. Where you spend another person's currency in your own country. That shows the erosion of trust of your own economy. And I was telling him, say, you can't do it. I've been going to China, I've been everywhere. This country was a signatory to MDG in year 2000. China was a signatory to MDG. In 15 years, they put 435 million people out of poverty. China in 1990 had 95% of their population living under poverty. Today they have less than 2%. So is Vietnam. They had about 90-something% living in poverty. Today they have 1.6. So is Bangladesh. They're going down. We talked about loan. Approve the loan. But what is the loan being used for? I was in Bangladesh in 2010. And I studied what they used to borrow money and everything. Bangladesh, as 2010, had a debt. The economy then was $115 billion with a debt of $45 billion, which is 36% of their debt. Their per capita was just about 708, about $700 in 2010. As at that time, Nigerian GDP was 375. Our per capita was $2,250. And our debt then was under $8 billion. Today, we were owing about the same thing to today. Our debts have moved, where our debts are now $100 billion. Our GDP is 400. Our per capita is now 2,000. So in the past 10 years, we've lost 10% of our per capita. And we've borrowed about 7 to 10 times the amount we were owing then. So something is wrong. We threw away the money. It wasn't invested. It's not productive. It didn't help anybody. Bangladesh, today, have moved to a GDP of $335 billion with a per capita of $2,050. So they have moved 3 times their per capita. It's getting better. They're pulling people out of poverty. Go and check what they've been able to do over these years. And that's what I'm just pleading with you. Can we build a better Nigeria? It's not about politics. It's not about who becomes president or who becomes governor, who becomes this. We can make this country better. It can work. I'm a private businessman. You can check my background as a trader. I've been in the corporate world. I've been a chairman and director of several quoted companies in Nigeria. I've been a governor. And I can tell you, I've managed resources. And I know that this country, if properly managed, can turn around in 10 years and be on the path of growth. It's a great country. It has all it takes. All we need is to invest our resources in the right places, cut the cost and waste that is all over the place. That is all I came to plead with you. As we make our choice, it's easier for people to come and say, I'll do this, I'll do this, I'll do that. But let's check the journey. I want us to choose make a choice today that we're going to do what, we must introduce a process of selection that will bring about a change in this country. Thank you for your time, because it's been, I know what it means for you after a long sitting to come here to wait for me. I assure you, I am committed to this country. I'm committed to unifying this country because it's critical. I'm committed to turn around the economy of this country. I have an idea and I have contacts who can do that. And it's not going to be one person. It's going to bring everybody into it and say, let's build a country that our children will have hope to stay. Not everybody wanting to go away. I know where to invest in those critical areas of development, and you will start seeing the result from day one. Let's stop this abuse of our country, because it will take its revenge on our children. God bless all of you.
Thank you. Take a bow.
Thank you.
Take a bow.
He celebrates.
Take a bow. Take a bow.
This is the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. I think you don't need any introduction in this Senate. Everybody knows you and knows your capacity. The only thing new, I think, from what Dr. Doyin Okupe said, was that loan that we didn't know, that we were giving over £2 million some 25, 30 years back. And that comes to the issue of loan that my colleagues used to tease the Chairman Senate Committee on Foreign Law. There is nothing bad about loan, but what do we do with the loan is what matters. Your Excellency, indeed, Nigeria is draining. Your Excellency, I don't know whether you are current with what you say that Nigeria is far ahead of Afghanistan and the rest. I think we are first on that bad list. Your Excellency, your performance as a businessman, as a governor, speaks volume. I want to believe and I want to tell you that everybody here looks up to you. If you get the ticket, you will bring Nigeria out of this situation. Having said that, our prayers is for you. Our prayers is for the best candidate to emerge. But I want to ask you a simple question. Your Excellency, the issue of zoning is like it has just been put to rest. Everybody will contest. Your Excellency, in the event that you did not clinch the ticket, will you work for the candidate that emerged for the sake of Nigeria? Because Nigeria is drilling. Nigeria is a failed state. That is the truth about it. But we have hopes and confidence in you. Thank you. Thank you so much for the interactive session.
Committee on Women Affairs in the Senate. Simple question. Will you make a woman your vice president? 1. 2. What is your gender strategy for Nigerian women? I know that you've been there for my sister Uche, and we watched when our sister over there was made the deputy governor to run election. But every PDP aspirant that comes will need to have their commitment to gender issues, because I'm sure you are aware of what happened with the bills we sent to the the constitutional amendment, and how the men seated here, majority of them turned down the gender bills. So now I want to take it to the political parties. So we want to know, including some PDP, I can name them. So we want to know what strategy do you have to make sure that gender is mainstreamed in your plans. Thank you, sir.
Of Anambra State. And, the former vice presidential candidate of our great party. I simply want to express my joy seeing you today in the mix. I have keenly observed you from a distance, and from all the indications that have emerged, you are a symbol of a great manager of public trust. And so, in the present circumstances that we find ourselves in the face of the myriad of challenges that we face, I am convinced that you can make a good leader for this country at this moment. And all I can say at this time is to wish you good luck. Thank you.
Congratulate you for the courage to come out and declare your presidential ambition. I watched you when you were at the event of the declaration of Atiku Abubakar. You were there. And then, of course, the cameras came to you and you spoke. You went there in solidarity. When you left there, moments later you declared. In fact, the question was asked if you were still going to run. You said yes, that you will come out very soon to make your declaration. I saw a statesman in you. You recall when Senator Obina had the burial or funeral activities of the father. You were there, we all were there. Unfortunately, the person that is not here is a very good colleague, Senator Peter Mwamboshi. You know, if he had remained in the PDP to date, he probably would have spoken. You know, it was what was mentioned that night, even when you had to escort us from the village to Enugu to our hotel. A few things transpired. We talked. It is the prophecy that Peter mentioned that night that I want to say. That he sees in you a president. Peter Mwamboshi is not. He said he sees in you a president. And I had to, he said it immediately we met you at the event. And that event lasted over 2 hours. But I started thinking, and I started looking closely to see, you know, or try to identify what he saw in you. And by the time we finished the event and came back to Enugu, and you came down, you escorted us, and you went back. I started to see what he saw. Senator Uche Ekwenife has spoken so much about you, glowingly, very many times. And at the risk of disturbing me, she was sitting to my right in the Senate. Every time, it's Peter Obi, Peter Obi, Peter Obi. Then I started listening to her. And later too, I saw in you what she has seen in you. You know, in the Senate, there's a whole lot of concern. All of us, whether you are PDP, APC, or YPP, a whole lot of concern about the death rate that we have found our country in. It's very serious. Incompetence in governance, lack of knowledge on the part of those that have constituted leadership in Nigeria, and sheer wickedness. what has brought us to this very dismal level. Nigeria, I have said it, until we remove sentiments in the choices that we make, we may never get to a destination that will be fruitful to us. This country is a country where people show a lot of unfairness and injustice. And people they just laugh over it. There's no way a country like our own can do well until we start to show fairness, justice, and equity. And it's unfortunate that elites, they have trivialized a lot of things. They tell you it's like that, don't bother, it's like that. Our country can move forward until we're able to put the leadership that is purposeful, that is committed, that is driven, by good objectives, propelled by, sound patriotism. We can't get to anywhere. We want to see what happens in other climes. The whole world is moving energetically, driven by science and technology. People have become digital. We are putting a president that wakes up at 4 p.m. and works for only 1 hour. And after working for 7 days, he goes to look for medical treatment abroad. These are deadwoods. And people are happy. What we have seen in the last 8 years is enough lesson for us to choose people who really know what it takes. We give a lot of indices here to measure the quality of life of a people vis-a-vis the economy of a country. Many people don't understand. They don't want to understand. But chiefly amongst them, misery index, poverty. All of us who are here, when we are going to our constituency, we know what it is. We are not enjoying it. Getting there, a lot of people wait for by the roadside. Even you cannot drive your car that you have bought with your sweat. You cannot express the word that God has generally given to you. Please change the tide. I encourage you, I join others encouraging you. On the note of fairness, I encourage you. Note of competence, I encourage you. The fairness in this country, there are people who do not have any business being in the presidential race. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Very well. We know that one cannot give what he doesn't have. The indices you rolled out here shows that we understand the dynamics. The dynamics of our economy. And there's no doubt that considering your background, you have what it takes to move the economy forward. But knowing the indices and knowing the economics is different from leadership. They're two different things. And that reminds me about one of the case studies we had when we went to Harvard on this Kennedy School of Government. One Latin American country was so poor, just like Nigeria. And the World Bank decided to send one of their best from that country to go and revive the economy. And the guy said he went, applied all the economics, during his first tenure, did very well, and came for election and didn't make it. Despite all he did economically to change the economy. That shows again that he failed, he didn't understand the human management involved in politics. Now, in Nigeria, currently, our problem is the human factor, the people. That's why we have policies, constitution, all what it takes, but putting it on ground is a problem for us. Your Excellency, there was a case that happened even in the 8th Senate, and I used you as an example. When a dual governor could not constitute his cabinet or the legislature because he had very few honorable members of his party, and the majority were other parties. And he went at night to inaugurate them. And that brought a lot of crisis. And I remember that in the Senate, I was one of those who blamed the governor. But the governor forget. I know he was supposed to become. We have to say we have to say the truth. I remember that at a time in Anambra State, Governor PDP was in a different party, and the entire legislature was of PDP, and yet he managed them. The parliament was working. So I expected with this brief, wonderful speech that after talking about the economic indices, you ended into the experience, the difficult situation you found yourself, and how you managed the situation.
Thank you. Good job.
Let me say that I've known Peter for a very, very long time. I have enjoyed mutual relationship and mutual respect. And today, I'm sure everybody will confess that Peter is fit for the job.
Still liberal.
So he has shown intellect, he has also shown his usual humility, for which is well known. And Betty asked one fundamental question, whether Peter will accept the result of the convention and work with whoever will win. He will ask about, let me also say that if there is justice and fairness and the process is transparent, he will. But if it is not, he will not. Because a man who is unjustly treated will not be interested in peace. So that is for him to decide anyway, but that's my own understanding of the thing. Now, generally speaking, we are at a crossroad. A lot of people have said the challenges of the nation. But one of the things that remains to be said is that the rest of Africa is looking up to Nigeria to save the continent. And we have an opportunity in 2023 to create a leadership Africans will rely on for their emancipation. So what we are doing here now, or what we are going to do in convention and the primaries and the elections, is of concern not just to our people, Nigerians, but in Africa. So it's a very serious time we have found ourselves as Nigerians. Now, regrettably, my understanding is that primaries and conventions have not been able to produce the best leaders. Otherwise, it won't be the problem we have now. Because the president of Nigeria was a product of a convention. Some of the governors are having problems in their states today are products of congresses. So for PDP, it's an opportunity for us. While we are using the mechanics of our convention and congresses, need as well to match it with a process that can produce a candidate that will be able to deliver this country. It's very critical, I've said this to the national chairman, in the university system, while the process of selecting a vice chancellor goes on, they set up what they call a search party, which is to say if they can find somebody better than the person the process had produced, they'll be able to go with the person. So we don't want a situation where, because people have enough resources or they have contacts and everything and the mechanics of politicking, they march and then we end up with what we have today. So I believe that all of us as leaders of the party need to work with the party leadership today to ensure that at the presidential level, we should be able to have a candidate that will not only we will all be proud of, but somebody we believe will deliver. So today we have a lot of them from different parts of the country. So I would like us to encourage as many as possible to speak to us so that we can make up our mind whom to support. Not because of where he comes from or because of the amount of money in his pocket, but because of the knowledge and the expectation that Nigeria will be able to move forward under his leadership. I'm sure that you'll be one of the people that can make Nigeria proud. So I want to say, wish you good luck, And we believe that whatever we can do to encourage people like you to show interest in the leadership of this country, I'm sure we'll do that. So well done.
I was asked, have been graciously answered by my dear brother by saying, if everything is just and fair,
Yes.
there's no way I will not accept it. I'm not somebody who is, I'm desperate to see a good Nigeria, a better Nigeria than it is today, but not desperate to be the one leading it. If there's somebody who is competent, who can do the job, being a president of a country is far different from being any other thing within the country, because we're going to interact with nations and so many organizations to turn around the system. It's not just going to be you alone. You're going to face different things, like I was talking about when I talked about loan. Today we are borrowing money without knowing what we're doing. Put me anywhere. We don't even know what we are doing with the money. We don't even know how. This country, their first loan, if I show you the letter, Tafa Balawa wrote to World Bank to borrow the first money this country ever borrowed, you'll be shocked. The first money we borrowed June 1964. He wrote it that we're borrowing this amount of money to build Kanji Dam for production. And that's what bank accepted and gave us $82 million. Then, today, we can account for that money, but we can't account for the ones we borrowed today. And that's the society my children will live in. So it's not you. It's not you, but I'm just saying, you asked about the women, whether I will work with women. Let me tell you, one of the tragedies of the country, one of the tragedies of our country today is that half of our productive assets are unproductive, which is women. As a governor, if you might know, I have a chief of staff, woman, commissioner for planning, commissioner for finance, my government house, my PAMSEC, my head of service, local government. I can go on and on. Education, all women. I can tell you anywhere, and I can say categorically, women are more productive, more committed, because they have children. They have fear. They don't want to fail. So I can tell you, I'm not just to conclude. Let me tell you, madam, I'm not only going to work with women, I'm going to also work with different organs of government the way it should be. I watch leaders of my country travel abroad and say, I'm a president. I'm going to attract foreign investors. I'm going to negotiate this. And I look at the entourage. Where is the leadership of National Assembly that is accompanying him? That's how American president travels. Because you need to have, all these things have to have a collegiate position.
Yes.
So if I'm going to the UK to talk about trade, investment and this, I have to look at, are we looking for people in power? Who is the chairman of power? Who is the chairman of this? And go with them so that when I come back and I'm talking about, when we are talking about loan, when I'm talking about loan for us to be able to do this, he will understand the reason why we need to borrow the money. Today people said, we've gone to China to borrow money. Where is the feasibility studies? Where is the studies? Who went with them? On what? For every loan, we have to know how we are going to pay back. So it can go on and on.
You have the.
We need to involve everybody.
For me,
Just like somebody said that, but Senator Kornegu said, he was there. I worked with 30-member House of Assembly. I remember one of the PDP governors asking them, why are you cooperating with Peter? And he told him, he said, listen, Peter will bring you into whatever he's doing. If we're going to do this, Speaker, who is in charge here? Let him come and go with me so we can sit down and see A, B, C, D, F. So it's easier for me to come to the house and say, look at what we are trying to do. We're going to move from here to here. Everybody will see it. Everybody will see it. It's not just haphazard where you think legislators are maybe your house help or some of the people who don't know what they're doing. You can get everybody to work. Thank you.
Thanks for checking out SYMFONI on YouTube. Please be sure to subscribe and like our videos for updates.